Hey, what's up guys? Thank you for coming back to our YouTube channel. And of course, today we are going to answer what is a router and how does a router actually work, right? So we have this big cloud here in our diagram that we often use to represent the complex inter-network connections of the hundreds of thousands of network devices, from routers to switches to servers, right? And we call this one as the WAN, wide area network, and the internet. And on the other side here, you see this one, this guy is at home or at his office, he has a Wi-Fi router. This Wi-Fi router could be possibly given by their ISP. Probably you bought this one, TP-Link or Netgear, mesh Wi-Fi routers, right? Their role is the same, right? This is also your LAN, local area network. Starting from the LAN ports of this Wi-Fi router, it connects to you. That is your LAN port because this is a part of your WAN port, wide area network. Routers act as a gateway to interconnect different networks. As you can see here, this router here is the gateway for you to reach the internet. And by the time that it reaches this other router here, it acts also as a gateway to different networks and goes to another router, and this acts as a gateway to different networks again. You see the concept here? And they ensure that data packets are appropriately forwarded between source and destination. Let's give a scenario here. So in this scenario, let's try to say this guy wants to access YouTube, and this is YouTube YT. The first thing that's going to happen is when this guy typed in youtube.com, it goes to the router, and the router would say like, okay, let me see. What's your source? What's your destination? IP address. So the destination is going, because he knows the source already, because he is directly connected to that router, and then the destination, what are you trying to access, right? So he knows that it's going to the internet. And your Wi-Fi router at home only has one port, most likely, and that's labeled as WAN. It forwards this one to its WAN port because he knows that the router which this guy is connected to is another router who knows multiple paths going to YouTube. So this router that received those packets also goes into the, okay, what are you trying to reach? What's the source? What's the destination? So he knows that it is coming from this Wi-Fi router, okay? And then, you're going to this IP address which is YouTube. And then he checks on his routing table, right? In his routing table, this routing table are list of the routes, which is the best path going to YouTube. You try to say it has a multiple link here in this diagram, but in real world, there are multiple paths that can go to YouTube. Now, he tries to see which is the best path going to YouTube. So let's try to say this one. So he's going to forward it here and goes to this router. In the same scenario, checks on the source and destination. After it checks on that source and destination IP address, checks also on his routing table, where is YouTube connected, right? And then he would often say, oh, it is connected in the other port that I am connected to. Yay, you can access YouTube right now. And YouTube would respond, going back to your router, then this router would say, okay, it came from, I'm sending back this response based on the source that I received earlier. So it's going back like that. And all of these things happen in a click of a second, right? Now, take note here, guys, that these routers that we have in the internet are not like the Wi-Fi routers that we use at home. They are like enterprise level routers. Being maintained by your ISP, data centers, service providers. They have these enterprise level routers, as you can see in this picture or video that I'm showing you right now. So that is all about routing. And to mention, they use the routing protocols such as OSPF, EIGRP, BGP, and others. These protocols can be discussed in a different video if we happen to go there, right? Moving on to the other functionality of a router, which is NAT, Network Address Translation. Let's write that one. Network Address Translation. Okay, this network address translation often happens with the part of WAN, this one, and LAN. So WAN, we have this LAN, we have this LAN. Okay. Now, what happens is, on the LAN side, we have private IP address, right? We have private IP. And then here we have public IP. Now, public IP address are routable in the internet. Private IP address are not routable IP address. In most cases, this is the scenario. When you connect to the ISP, you will have one public IP address which is mapped to one of the port of your Wi-Fi router. All right. For others, like companies, they will have multiple IP address, but they use a different router that can cater to more IP address. Right. Now, this one, at this portion, at the local ports of your router, you have the LAN ports. That's your local area network where all of your private IP is there. Now, what happens is, you connect your phone, your tablet, your PC, your TV, they all use private IP address. And this private IP address cannot go past the NAT, network address translation. Once it goes through that NAT, it's like a barrier. It's going to translate all those private IP address into one public IP going to the internet. Right? That's what happens with network address translation. And then, of course, when somebody responds, like your YouTube we explained earlier, it's going to go here and the router knows who requested that one. So into your private IP address, it's going back to whoever requested that one, because your router knows whoever is connected in that network. And in this concept, we are talking about IPv4, okay? IPv6, they don't require NAT, because there's a lot of IP address out there. For IPv4, actually, this is one of the things that limit the transition, because we can still use one IP address for a number of devices, right? So, I hope you have learned something from this video, guys. That's all about your router, NAT, the routing, the forwarding of the packets, the role of a router. And if you have any questions regarding routers, feel free to drop a comment down below, and I'm glad to answer them as much as I can. Or if there's something that I did not explain well, you can comment it there so that people who are going to watch this video can try to incorporate your comments, right? So thank you for watching this video, and see you on the next one.